So welcome back, everybody, to yet another member spotlight. This time, joining me in Belgium, Europe, is Nancy. Nancy is the European sales manager for part of a Fortune 500 company called Watkins Wellness. Hello, Nancy.
Hi, Bram. Nice to see you again.
Likewise. Thank you for making yourself available. What time is it for you right now?
It is 9 o'clock in the morning.
Beautiful. You're ready to seize the day and
had my coffee, so ready to go.
Fantastic. Well, we're about to hang up our coat for the day here in this side of the world, which is South Australia. It's almost 5 p.m. And, I'm really excited to be able to have this chat with you as one of our members in the success community. Get us a little bit up to speed briefly, like who are you? What sort of things do you do?
Sure. Well, I'm Nancy. I'm the Senior European Sales Manager for Watkins Wellness, as you said. I have a long experience in customer service, in sales. I've been with the company for a little over 11 years now. Initially, I started off as the service center manager for the distribution center that Watkins has in Belgium. And then about 7 years ago, I made the move over to the sales side. So with my team of 5-6 regional sales managers, I oversee the development of our customer portfolio throughout Europe. Wow. I work from home typically, and I travel a lot. Like my team members, I probably spend about 100 days a year on the road, visiting dealers, giving trainings to our dealers. So very exciting role.
And what a great thing to move from being in a warehouse to the sales, where you basically get to see everybody and travel around and get paid for it.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So it's great. How many countries do you guys operate in at this present time?
Well, Watkins operates in 70 countries, 70. In Europe, we are active in pretty much all countries. The biggest markets for us are the UK, which I personally don't take care of. A colleague of mine does that. But then France is, without a doubt, for me, our biggest market. Scandinavia, Southern Europe, so Spain, Italy, the German-speaking countries, Austria, Switzerland, Germany. And then very much emerging is Eastern Europe. So we've become very active in Eastern Europe over the last couple of years, and that's really where a lot of growth potential still is. We're very, very active in that region. And then outside of that, we have a joint venture in Australia, New Zealand, so close to your area. And we're very active also in South America and across many other countries over the world.
Wow, 70 different countries. That's quite a bit. I think it's important that we also mention the type of product, because let's just be honest, you can manufacture a lot of things. You could manufacture cups, you could manufacture phones, you could manufacture desks, chairs, whatever. But you guys have got a really sexy product. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Yes, Watkins Wellness is the one of the biggest, if not the biggest, manufacturer of portable spas. So we have multiple brands under our umbrella, such as Hot Spring being our most known brand, without a doubt, but also Caldera Spas, Free Flow Fantasy Spas. And then a couple of years ago, we acquired Endless Pools, swim spas, which is a fantastic product and is really, more and more known by people throughout the world. And then very, very recently, only 2 weeks ago, in fact, we've announced that we will be acquiring Sauna 360. So we're very excited to finally step into the world of saunas as well. Sauna 360 is a well-renowned company, and some of the most famous brands in that playground are Tilo, which is very well known in Europe, and then Finleo, for instance, is a US brand. A whole new world will open up for me and my sales group, getting to know all the intricacies of saunas and the likes, steam rooms as well, steam baths. So wow, very excited about this new adventure.
That is so exciting indeed, and especially, when you say Tilu is a world-renowned Finnish sauna brand. It's actually the same
Exactly.
type of sauna that I go in 3 times a week here in South Australia. I love it. It's a great product, and I think this is important for everybody that watches this to know that you guys play in the premium segment mainly, within a few entry level, but still high quality products underneath, which is why you guys have done so well over the years, because what you sell, you service as well, and have really good quality
Absolutely.
systems and processes, and even spare parts for over the years. So that's one. In terms of size, overall, Watkins, for people to know, what sort of size are we looking at for you guys?
Well, Watkins, in fact, is part of an even larger organization called Masco. So if you look at that, our worldwide footprint is pretty enormous. One of our sister companies, for instance, that most of you will probably know is Hans Grohe of the tabs. Also, some paint companies like Bear Paint are part of our portfolio. So we're pretty huge. Watkins as a whole, we probably have more than 3,000 employees currently. So we are active in many different countries. In Europe, we have the distribution center in Belgium. We have a center in the UK. We are active in New Zealand, where we have a facility. And then we have 4 factories in the US and Mexico. So pretty big organization.
Absolutely. And I think you guys are getting close to the $700 million in annual revenues?
Yes, I mean we have very ambitious goals. So we are, we're on the rise. We've been growing for the last decade nonstop. So we're pretty ambitious there in our goals.
Well, and you know how that goes, right, Nancy? It takes good salespeople to sell that much. So
it does.
Talking about sales, which is one of my favorite topics, right? Sales done the right way. You said that you specifically look after Europe. You got a team of 5 or 6 sales managers working with you in certain regions. We've been on a journey together with them, and also the colleagues in the US and even in other countries too. Tell us a little bit more, like, what have you found to be very, very helpful as you are expanding the market, expanding the dealer base, growing volume, and so on and so forth, particularly also in some of the challenging times?
Yes. Well, for us, I mean, the way we work is we sell our product through professional retailers. That's how we operate in Europe and in the United States as well. So we have a network of dedicated dealers that we count on to put our product in the market. That means that we have to work with such a variety of profiles or people, and we need to be seen by them as their trusted advisor. We don't think of ourselves as a supplier. We're really a partner to them, and they need to see us that way, and we need to sometimes have very challenging and difficult conversations with them. And for us to be able to do that, we really have to have a strong team that can work with a variety of personalities. And we, of course, as our team as well, we are all different people too. So I have a group of 5 regional sales managers that are all culturally very different. They all operate in their own countries or their own regions. And that brings a lot of cultural variety there as well. Our dealers are spread across Europe, so there's lots of variation there too. And for us, it's important that we, first of all, understand each other really well, that we are a coherent team with all of our unique perspectives, because I believe very strongly in having a team that is diversified, that we're not all the same, but that we can learn from each other, that we each have our strengths and weaknesses where we can complement each other. So I very purposely look for team members that are not all the same. And at the same time, our dealers are very different as well. So when we onboarded on this journey, what we've decided as a company, not just for the European team, but for the whole worldwide team, is that we would go through the DISC profiling exercise together. And I think that really has been a game changer for us. Before we did that, sure, you had an idea of, who your colleagues were, but I think, at least myself, I had the tendency of trying to treat people the way that I wanted to be treated. And one thing that we certainly learned from you and your experience there is to treat people the way they want to be treated. And I thought that was really an eye-opener for me and my team. And to be able to do that, you really have to understand who you are talking to and what sort of profile that people have. Not trying to put people in a box, because that's not what we're after. But when we all did our tests and when the profile rolled out, I must admit that we were probably shocked by the accuracy of the profile. It was almost eerie how spot on for most of us this was. And having seen that, and we've been very openly sharing our profiles with each other, not only with your manager, but also with your peers. And by bringing it out in the open like that, what you suddenly see is you understand much better why people are reacting the way that they do, and why you have a natural tendency to get or to be aligned with some and less with others. So for me, for instance, I'm a high I. I like to socialize. I like as most people are, although not everybody in my team is I, which is great, because we don't want all I's and we don't want all D's either, or you want a good mix. And I was really pleased to see that my team is a good mix of all sorts of profiles. But it helps me understand why I naturally get along with some people better than with others, and why I sometimes struggle to get through to some profiles, because I just simply wasn't addressing them in the right way, and I wasn't giving them what they were after, because I was just being me, and I just wanted to fulfill my needs, being chit-chatting and talking about what we did in the weekends. And I probably didn't appreciate that some want to get straight to the point and some want to be very analytical. So, knowing that profile now for my employees, but also for my peers, that really helped us. And then where it really was a game changer is, things like the exercises you made us go through on things like the meeting magic prep sheets is something I still use these days to prepare my meetings better, and to it helped us to identify the profiles of our dealers, although we haven't obviously made them go through the test. But when you think about it, you can pretty accurately estimate what somebody's like, and to get those tools to use or don't use certain words that can trigger them helps to prepare a difficult conversation. And obviously I don't do it for every single conversation, but unfortunately, like in every role, we sometimes have to have bold conversations with our dealers, and it helps to prepare that by using words that we know will resonate with that particular type, or to prepare your meeting in a way that that you will talk to them the way they want to be talked to, not the way that I want to be talked to.
Would you say that you actually feel better going into those meetings?
I do, and it really helps, to be more self-confident going into a bold conversation, knowing that you are prepared, knowing more or less what to expect. And it also helps because if you do that, practice makes perfect, like it's always the case. And it helps also to be more prepared for unexpected conversations, because obviously you can't prepare for every single conversation. Very often people call us and you have to improvise. You can't say, let me call you back after I've done my magic prep sheet. But it does, you build more of a routine. What we've done is we've taken the exercise of categorizing our main dealers into these particular buckets. And mentally, I have my list ready. So I know when somebody calls me, what sort of type they are, and it helps me to be more prepared when they call in and to be more adjusted towards their style.
Do you find that as you change your approach to better suit them, do you find that they changed in the way they respond to you?
Yes, I do. I mean, they've obviously not taken this course, so they don't typically adjust to us, and that's fine because we're in this relationship where we're the partner and they're our customers. You're pushing the right buttons, so to speak. So it helps them to respond better to us, and you can drive them more towards the outcome that you're wanting to drive to. So if somebody is a high D, for instance, I will cut straight to the chase and we'll get straight to the point, and they appreciate that because that's the way they want to be talked to, and they will respond better to that than when I would go beat around the bush a lot. And I just get better outcomes this way.
Fantastic for you, for yourself and for them, which is great. It's a win-win.
It is.
I just want to make sure that for everybody watching this, a lot of people have heard of DISC. They might have even done a DISC assessment of some time before. They might have even done some training of some kind. What we've done is very different. First of all, as you said, the tool we use is highly precise. It even goes to the point that it's a 48-page report that it generates where you can go through, and it actually helps you either as a leader to become a better leader, from a salesperson to become better at selling, or from a customer service type of perspective to better look after and treat clients the way they want to be looked after. So that's the first difference. The other one is I'm very wary of people that might have done a short sort of 3-hour, even maybe a full day session, and then be left on their own. We have done something very different. All of you in the team have gone through a 10-week accelerator where we went deep dive and had time to learn and apply on the job before we came back for more, right? And so how would you say that the team has gone with that process and the content that we brought to the table, including the tools that you mentioned? Because these are our IP.
Well, the team has absolutely enjoyed that. So there were, first of all, there were a couple of other people in those calls as well. So it helps to get an outside perspective as well. You learn from people in other organizations that do other things than you do, because ultimately it all boils down to the same thing, but from a different context. So that was enriching, I would say. Also the fact that it takes a real commitment from a team to commit time for 10 weeks in a row with all of our busy schedules to fit this in. So initially we're like, how's that going to work? But very quickly we found that the team was very eager to participate, and they bent over backwards to accommodate the timing of the meeting. So we found ourselves sitting in lobbies of hotels, postponing a meeting till later so that we could really participate in that, because it's really critical to be part of as many sessions as possible. They are obviously recorded, so you can always look back, and that's very helpful. You also gave us homework in between, so it is important to not just go from session to session, but also in the week that passes in between the session to be conscious about it and to do some very simple exercises that will help you think and that help you prepare for the session ahead. So I thought that was really meaningful to do that. And by doing it 10 weeks, first you go through the assessment, then we discussed it as a group, and then we go through this 10-week journey. It really helps you to embed it in your day-to-day work, because with very many trainings, at least that's my experience, I could get very enthusiastic about a certain training, but then I get home and then the rat race starts again, and whoop, before you know it, you're like, oh yeah, I had this great training 3 years ago and I've never ever done anything with it anymore. And I think that's really critical to, if you wanted to make a change and if you wanted to make an impact, it just doesn't happen overnight. So having this 10-week journey really helps to really embed it in your thinking and in the way you apply it later on.
I love that. And Yeah, it definitely has taken some commitment. I even remember some of your team, sitting next to the on the side of the highway in their car, ready to
In
go
the
and
car.
off again.
I know.
Which is
Yeah.
great. Goes to show that they were really committed and well invested, which is great. How would you say now, as you look around, you talk to dealers, you might be at a conference, a dealer conference in the US, you might be at a trade show in Spain or France, and you're talking to people that are just approaching you. Would you say that it's a lot easier for you now to spot what to look out for and shift gears, so to speak, to make them feel comfortable right away?
Yeah, it really helps. I mean, you sort of build a sixth sense for it after a while, because I could probably in the first 60 seconds try and identify, what sort of person I have in front of me. And I do it in a more conscious way than I've ever done it before. So you always have instinctive reactions to people, but now by the way that somebody approaches you, by the way they shake your hand, by the first things they say, by the way they just act, and you can pretty quickly start to identify the way they are, and it really comes in handy because we do things. For instance, last year in November, which was after the training, we went to Lyon, which is the largest trade show in our industry, and there literally you have 30 seconds when a potential prospect walks up to you. You have very little time to identify, how could I best address this person, and is it worth a conversation? Because you have to be selective. You can't talk to everybody that comes by your booth, and you have to really try and find a way to quickly sift through the people that you get in front of you to get the maximum out of it. And together with our business development manager, we spend a lot of time preparing our team for that, because we have to really qualify. And one of the sessions we had with you was also, how do you qualify people, and how do you quickly assess the real potential of a prospect? And it's really helped us to maximize the time that we had there, and to really put them down the funnel, and to only be left with the best prospects possible. And we really adjusted, the way we would address that, asking some tailored qualification questions that are different than the booth next to you, because everybody's asking the same questions. Where are you from, and what brand do you do currently, and blah blah blah. And it's also so mainstream. And now if you ask different questions, all of a sudden they're like, hey, this company is different. They're actually asking me what I want, not what they want. So it helps. It helps.
Beautiful. So you guys flipped it around, and kudos to your team, because jointly as a team, you guys came up with like easily 80 different questions that now you guys have readily available as tools in your kitty to deploy as you see fit. And those questions are very targeted questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do, of course, after a while, pick out your favorite questions, and that you then perfect and make it your own. That's really powerful.
Great stuff. Having gone through this journey, you're taking your team on this journey with you. What's next for you guys?
Well, we're obviously with the Sauna 360 acquisition, there's lots of new stuff ahead of us. So we're super excited about that. It'll open up the doors for a new, arena, if you like, of dealers and possibilities and prospects that we've never met, and products that we are not familiar with either. So we'll all have to learn a lot, which is great. My team has also, I have recently, or a year ago, a new person joined our team. We've had him take the course, obviously after us, but I thought it was really important that he would get into the same vibe as the rest of the team. So he's gone through your course, and now we all talk the same language, and we have a common set of things and tools that we use, which comes in so handy as a team. So onwards and upwards. 2023 has definitely proven to us to be a difficult year, in the sense that in our industry, however difficult COVID period has been for us, it was, it certainly had a silver lining, because we've never been as successful as during that period where everybody was trying to build their own wellness haven at home. So for our category, that was absolutely, Walhalla, I would say.
Yeah.
Although with all the challenges that we've had on the production side, I mean, it was a very complex time. We couldn't produce enough, and everybody wanted more and more and more. 2023 has proven to be, quite the opposite, with a lot of things happening. We had a lot of dealers having a lot of inventory left from, previous years. We had the crisis in the Ukraine, which certainly shook the market or didn't do wonders for consumer confidence. There was the energy crisis in Europe, which is obviously for our category not the best. So lots of turmoil as well. We see a lot of competition struggling. So we're obviously a well-established company, and we have a strong financial backbone, but not everybody has that. So we see a lot of players that came throughout COVID that are going again, exiting faster than they came, leaving a lot of debris behind. So it's quite a rough landscape out there. So we're having to adjust, and we're having to teach our dealers to be resilient and to go back to the basics, because one thing that certainly happened throughout the COVID period was that dealers were becoming really order takers. It was so easy to sell, and people didn't care about the color and the size and just availability that mattered. But now it's back to basics, and they have to really fight for every deal again, and have to really come up with their basic sales skills. So we've refocused a lot of our effort on training dealers again on the things that maybe they've forgotten how to do. And a lot of new sellers have entered our dealers throughout COVID as well. So those people thought it was super easy to sell a spa. Well, it never has been, and it probably never will be again. So it takes skill, and it takes a lot of stamina to go through that sales process. So for us, it is fun to return to the real selling, because it almost wasn't fun anymore, and it becomes so easy as a true seller. It's like, okay, it's great, but that's not really what we're about. We're about convincing people and going through the sales cycle that we know that helps. So it's back to the fundamentals really for us.
That's great. And I think you guys probably better than many other manufacturers of premium products are actually not only in the business of producing and selling it to people that then resell it. You guys are there to really, as a partner, as you said, to really help them to sell more of it so that they win and do really well. And by them winning, you win too, which is a beautiful synergy, which I really think from all the people that I worked with over the years, you guys have a wonderful structure put in place there to really support your clients. We're running out of time. Is it okay, Nancy, that we offer people an opportunity to connect with you through LinkedIn and, find your website and, if they can reach out?
Oh, absolutely. Always willing to share experiences and willing to talk. I talk a lot, so that's no problem.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're going to stop the recording.
Very welcome.
Thanks again for joining in. And everybody, if you do have questions, please reach out to Nancy. We look forward to seeing you also again next month for the next member spotlight. And who knows, maybe that will be you. Anyway.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much.